Hello everyone, welcome to the video, Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the Athodai secondary. Now in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors, like Warframe abilities, Warframes doing damage, pets putting statuses, pets doing abilities, anything like that. Just test the weapon by itself, and I leave it up to the viewer to make their own intelligent conclusions about things like, hey, Salt put viral on the weapon, but I'm going to be using nourish, so maybe I'll use a different element. Things like that. So let's get into the Athodai. So it's a secondary machine pistol. And it actually has two different fire modes. It has the primary machine pistol mode. That's what we're doing the video on today. And then it has an alternate fire that completely expends the magazine. And it's almost like a flamethrower, but it's not really a flamethrower. And I had assumed that that mode was quite crappy. And I assumed wrong. I actually built it out today, and it's quite strong. So the Athodai is going to have to be two videos. I'm going to do the primary fire today, and I'll do the alternate fire video either tomorrow or Friday. So today will be the primary fire. Okay, so the Athodai, interesting things about it. It's going to start with heat. Not the biggest heat number, but it starts with heat, free element. I'll take it. It has a pretty, it's more focused on crit. So even with our 260-60 mods, it's only 17.6% status. Now it shoots really quickly. If this was a slow firing weapon, I wouldn't think that a 17% chance would be worth even putting viral on the weapon. But the weapon shoots quick enough where even at 17%, it's still worth putting viral on the weapon. Viral is a strong proc that does enough for it to justify it. But it is more crit focused than it is status focused. The other interesting thing about it is its unique trait. So after you get a headshot, it's going to, and I believe it's a headshot kill. It's not just a headshot. It's headshot kill. It removes recoil, not completely, but a little bit. And it increases your fire rate, and you get full ammo efficiency, so free ammo for 8 seconds. And the important thing is that this does not refresh itself. So every 8 seconds, you're going to go back down to your normal fire rate. After you get a headshot kill, you go back up to your the overdrive fire rate. So really cool that way. Because if you look at the ammo, like it has a magazine of 24. And in the reserve, it only has 2 more magazines. So it's very, very poor ammo supply. But it doesn't really matter because you're getting free ammo with overdrive. So that is that. We're not going to go over the charge. Charge will be a separate video. And it's just because it's one of those unfortunate things that a lot of weapons have when they have alternate fires, where one mode is very crit focused and the other mode is very status focused. And so they kind of require 2 different builds. They don't really play well together. So, for the mods, we're going to be going with Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Galvanized Crosshairs for crit chance, and you get a little bit of a conditional there, where on a headshot kill you get a little bit more crit chance, and it stacks up to 5 times. Obviously, with this weapon, we're going for a headshot build, because that's the whole thing with the overdrive. You need to get a headshot kill, and it triggers overdrive. Primed Pistol Gambit for crit chance. Primed Target Cracker for crit damage. Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot. Hornet Strike for flat damage. And then we're going to go for our 2 elements here to make viral, so it's going to be Frostbite and Pistol Pestilence. Just remember that in Whisper's content, viral is very bad. There's a lot of enemies that have resistances to viral, or viral procs just straight up won't work on them. And so for Whisper's content, you want to be switching to corrosive. So you would leave on the Pistol Pestilence, and you would just switch the Frostbite to a electric. And that would make your corrosive. And then for any other content, you switch that Frostbite back on there, and you got viral. In the Exilus slot, we're going to be going with Steady Hands. Right before this video, I actually was doing the video, and I stopped the original video to test this because I had read this and it says it removes recoil. And I went, oh my goodness, did I make a mistake? Does it remove all recoil? And so I ran to the simulacrum real quick and I tested it, and it does not remove all recoil. In fact, it's extremely heavy with recoil. And so I put steady hands on by itself at first, and I was like, okay, maybe steady hands removes all of the recoil just with steady hands. And I go to shoot, and it's still crazy recoil. And so I put on secondary deadhead, which has more recoil reduction. And even with deadhead, with steady hands, and with the unique trait that says it removes recoil, I don't know if that's true or not, honestly, it still has recoil. So it lessens it. I mean, deadhead and steady hands, it lessens it to a very manageable rate. But it still has recoil. So it is worth having steady hands. Now, in the arcane slot, we're going to be using secondary deadhead. But there is a case to be made for another arcane called Cascadia Flare. Now, let's look at Cascadia Flare here. So let's look at deadhead first. So just to make this simple, because there's a lot of conditionals with deadhead. Just to make it simple, it's a 360% damage increase. Okay, secondary deadhead is 360%. And then we look at Cascadia Flare. Cascadia Flare is 480%. So as far as flat damage, Cascadia Flare has more than secondary deadhead, about 120 more. But if we look at deadhead, deadhead also gives you plus 30% to headshot multiplier. That's great. We're going to be going for headshots. That's going to help us a little bit. And it also gives us the negative weapon recoil, which is also going to help us because it's pretty heavy with that recoil there. And Flare doesn't have any of that. Flare is just a larger amount of flat damage. It's 480 instead of 360. But because this weapon has innate heat, you could use Cascadia Flare. Now, in my testing, the only problem I had with this build with using Cascadia Flare is that because the Athodai is more crit heavy and not very status heavy, it takes a very long time for you to actually get up to that 480%. I had like about 5 different sample sizes where I did it 5 times. So 5 groups. I tried to get my Cascadia Flare to 480, and every time it took over 30 seconds. So it was 30 seconds or above to get to 480. Now, if you are confident that you can stay at 480 for the rest of the game, if you're doing an hour, 2 hour, survival, and you're confident you can just sit at 480, then that's great. That's good for you. Maybe Flare would be better in the slot for you. But the thing is that Flare stacks, they drop off pretty quickly. So if you look at Deadhead stacks last for 24 seconds. And all you have to do is get a headshot kill. Flare, all you have to do is put a heat proc on. But they only last for 10 seconds. So in the case where you don't have a target in front of your face, maybe you have to run and get a life support real quick. In that 10 seconds, your Flare stacks fall off, and you have to go through that 30 seconds of building back up that 480. So I think there is a case to be made for both of them being good. So Deadhead, of course, easier to keep the stacks, and you get headshot multiplier. That's why I think it's the best. But then Flare, the case would be, well, it's 120% more flat damage, and that makes sense too. So I think that's a personal taste. I do think secondary Deadhead is better, though, myself, personally. The other build, and I actually have it built out in config B, that I just want to talk about because I built it out this way. I'm going to go over to config B here. It is the same as the first one, except instead of Hornet Strike, we've moved over the viral and we've put primed heated charge at the end here. This build, and also we're going with Cascadia Flare. So this setup has an easier time at maintaining Cascadia Flare. This setup was getting up to that 480 in 10 seconds consistently, 10 plus seconds consistently to 480. So you still had a bit of a build-up time, but then again, Deadhead has build-up time too, so 10 seconds isn't too bad. But this weapon is not very status focused. It's more crit focused. Elements, of course, don't get factored into crit equations. In my testing, and it's limited, I'm only one person, I only did, so much testing. In my testing, they were both extremely similar. this setup and then my first setup here, I believe the first setup is better. I believe this setup with Hornet Strike and Deadhead will be better than this setup with Primed Heated Charge and Cascadia Flare. But they were so close that maybe in your own testing, you would find that one performed better than the other. So I just kind of wanted to say that. In my testing, I usually like to try to find one build, but this one was so close that I really couldn't tell much of a difference. Numbers wise, this one should be better because those elements, the big Primed Heated Charge here, it should not get factored into any of the crit equations. So this one should straight up be better because of Hornet Strike. Hornet Strike will get factored into crit equations. But in testing, they were very, very similar. So, okay, let me stop running my mouth there. I was kind of talking about the same thing over and over. And that is it for the mods. We're going to be doing this setup here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 10-minute Kuva survival. Going to test this on some trash, some acolytes, see how it does. And kind of show the weapon off too, see how that overdrive works. I'm going to do the Taviuni. I'm going to cast my 3 to give myself some armor, but that's all that 3 does. It just gives me armor and status immunity. It doesn't affect weapon damage. So right now, all my ammo is free, and that'll go on for 8 seconds. And then see, now it's back to the old way, and now I got a headshot kill again, so now it's free again. So that's how it goes. That's like kind of like the gameplay with the Athodai. Just remember that it does not charge itself during those 8 seconds. The 8 seconds has to go past, and then you have to get another headshot kill to do it again. So you can't stay in overdrive 100% of the time. But you're going to be getting so many kills with free ammo that there should be a crap load of ammo on the floor all the time for you. It's going to be pretty much all orange crits, little bit of yellows. Instead of the primed critical chance mod, if you were to use, I want to say critical delay, but I think it's called something different for secondaries. If you were to use the 200% crit mod, I mean, you probably could get rid of the little bit of yellows you're seeing, but I just feel like there's so little yellows that that negative 20% fire rate would be worse. So I think the primed crit mod is a little bit better than the 200% one. One of the weaknesses with secondary single target weapons like this weapon is the lack of punch through. So primary weapons, they have access to shred and prime shred, and so a single target primary weapon, it's very easy to make it competitive with the AoE meta because you can just easily give them punch through. Prime shred is a great fire rate mod. You usually need fire rate on most weapons, and you get punch through with it, so it's perfect. Now on secondaries, there's not really a good punch through mod that gives you multiple things. So there's not a good way to get punch through on secondaries. And so I don't do my videos with Rivens, but if you were to get a Riven with punch through, this could make this weapon even stronger. Because instead of hitting one target, like you're seeing here, I could be shooting the entire line of enemies there. Alright, I'm going to run over to those life supports, probably hit 1 or 2 of them. That one, and there's one more outside. Oh, and just to show, I know this is not the alternate fire video, but I just want to show that alternate fire off too. It's very weird, and I didn't expect it to be good, but it is actually quite good, if built out specifically for it. So that's it right there. It expends the entire thing of ammo. It doesn't. It has a very short range, so it's not a long range. It expends the entire thing of ammo, and you can't aim in while you're shooting it as well. So you can't use like the aim crit mods basically, which is fine because it's more status heavy. So you wouldn't really be using the aim crit mods anyway. But later in the week, either tomorrow or Friday, we'll do that alternate fire build for it. It is quite strong. I expected it to be kind of garbage, and then I quickly built it out. The build that I have currently for the alternate fire is probably not the one I'll settle with for the video, but I quickly built it out, and I came in here, and I was like, oh my goodness, this thing is slaying through enemies. I think it's still quite niche. I don't think it's as like universally okay as the Athodai primary fire. I need to get a headshot kill here, get my overdrive. There we go. On the Acolyte, I think this might be a little bit weak. I guess we'll see when he comes. What is he, like under the map? Oh, there he is. Mania with his Zephyr bubble. Took his shield away pretty quickly. See if I can get a little distance and put a good... He's Mania also. Mania uses Zephyr's bubble, which makes him immune to bullets. Sometimes. Like it's on right now. You see... Oh, now it's off. Now I can actually do damage to him. Let me try to get overdrive up. Here we go. Where is he? There he is. Give myself some more armor. I am getting bullied over here. And, oh, he put Zephyr's bubble right at the end there. I think he's going to get killed by a slasher heat proc. Yeah, he just died. Yeah, he only had a sliver, and I think the slasher, the heat, killed him. I don't know how we got a slash proc. I don't think this produces slash procs. No, puncture. All right, let's hit some life sports. The other thing that's also quite close in performance is Galvanized Shot, I believe it's called for secondaries. It's the one that has status and you get damage per unique status on the enemy. That's also quite close compared to Hornet Strike. It's just that because it's a very low status weapon, really only on Eximuses are you going to get the 3 statuses. Most of the time it's only going to be 2. Or even 1 for some trash mobs that die really quickly. Like this Eximus has 3 of them, so that would be good on him. But it's quite close there too, so keep that in mind. That the Galvanized Shot mod, or whatever the... I always forget the names of them. The status one. Whatever the status Galvanized mod is. That is quite close in DPS to Hornet Strike. Got my weapon stolen. Got my weapon stolen again. Like normal. Like, I kind of laid into this blitz right here, and he still only has 2 statuses. He'll eventually get one of those punctures. There we go. Now he's got a puncture. And that's why, like, Galvanized Shot is, it is a good mod, and it's very close to Hornet Strike. It's just that it takes an enemy to get a lot of hits for it to be, like, as good as Hornet Strike. I'm going to have to use an ammo pad right here. I'm being a little bit lazy about getting headshot kills. You should not have to use an ammo pad with the Athodai. That's my own fault with being lazy. It literally gives you free ammo. Get a headshot kill, free ammo for 8 seconds. I'm having to use an ammo pad. What are you doing, Salt? I'm going to head to this life support here. We might have to fight one more Acolyte before we leave. It's 9 minutes, 30 seconds. So like our Deadhead stacks are still up right here. But if we were using Flare, they would be down already. Flare also all goes down all at the same time. Whereas Deadhead will go down like 1 at a time. So we went from like 3 to 2, and now the 2 will go to a 1. Oh my goodness, Salt. What are you doing? I need another ammo pad. Second ammo pad. I guess if you get unlucky for a period of time, you could have to use ammo pads. Or I could just be a big idiot, though, too, not getting headshots. Okay, 10 minutes in. We're at almost 300 kills. That's below average. That's below average, which is kind of normal for a secondary single target weapon, unfortunately. And again, it's just because they lack punch through, or good punch through mods, I should say. There are punch through mods for secondaries. They just are not worth putting on the secondary, unfortunately, because there's nothing else they give you. Like Prime Shred, you're always going to put fire rate on primary weapons. Well, not always. There are some that you wouldn't, but you're almost always going to put fire rate on a weapon. So why not also get punch through with it? But secondaries don't have that, unfortunately. So 293 kills, a little bit below average. We'll do the Lua Conjunction next to test it there. I'll have to fight Thraxes, so they're going to kind of like be like Super Eximuses. So when I do these tests, about 400 kills is where a lot of the average weapons land. Like a lot of the primary assault rifles. But again, like we were saying, primary assault rifles have punch through. So that's why they're getting like 100, 150 more kills, is because of that punch through. So I'm going to cast my 3 to double my armor. Or I don't know if it doubles anymore. I don't think it doubles armor. They changed in Aros a little bit. It gives me armor. It gives me armor, and it gives me a little bit of status immunity. Get these Dracmasters out of here before they steal my weapons. So just keep an eye on enemies that I'm killing, especially these trash. Any trash that has 2 or less statuses, Hornet Strike would have been better. But any trash that gets 3 statuses, that's where Galvanized Shot, or whatever the secondary equivalent is, would have been better. So it's one of those things. They're very close to each other. Maybe in endurance content, Galvanized Shot might shine a bit more than Horn Strike. I mean, obviously it would in endurance content. But even there, because this is a very low status weapon, I mean, you'd get a little bit more status chance with the Galvanized Shot. But I don't know if it would be enough to really be pumping out 3 unique statuses consistently. It's very close, though. Very close. So some weapons, Galvanized Shot also works multiplicatively on. This weapon is not one of them. It's additive. Just additive damage. So you can kind of directly compare it to Horn Strike. Because Horn Strike is also additive damage. This is the only weapon in the game that I've ever rolled a god roll for. Riven. I'm not doing the video with it, of course, because I don't do my videos with Rivens, but I only ever got 1 god roll, ever. I have horrible luck with Rivens. I don't buy them. I always roll myself. And I have horrible luck with rolling, even though I've rolled thousands of times between Rivens. I've only ever gotten 1 god roll, and it was for this weapon. And it's still questionably maybe not a god roll, because it has status chance. It's crit chance, crit damage, status chance. Probably could have been crit chance, crit damage, multi-shot would have been better. But maybe the extra status helps it, though. Maybe the extra status on my Riven will make it give me a quicker 10 stacks of viral. Or more consistent heat procs. Get a little bit of armor back. I'm going to try not to be a big idiot and have to use ammo pads on a weapon that gives you free ammo. It's hard for me, though. It's hard. One of the viewers a while ago, actually, this is another weapon that I've been waiting a while to do. One of the viewers, Cold Fries, asked for me to do this weapon and show it off. So I'm glad I finally got to it for him. It took me a little bit long. I don't know why. I kind of had this ready. I just had to format it one time to format out my Riven. Maybe I was just being lazy, or maybe I forgot about it. I think I forgot about it, actually. But I got it done now. Well, almost. We had the All-Fire. I didn't think the All-Fire was going to be that good. So I thought this was going to be a 1-video weapon, but it's going to be a 2-video because of the All-Fire. Let's get this Thorax down. The fire procs will help you kill the Thoraxes. Can I go on my operator? No? Oh, violence is stopping it. Oh my goodness, that's a bad combo. I actually didn't think violence could do that, stop you from going into operator. That is something I did not know. Maybe my buttons are just sticky. Maybe that's why it's not working. I'm not sure. We gotta get the Thrax is the biggest problem. Because he's the one sucking life support. There we go. Oh my goodness, get an operator. Okay. Got him down. Let's get some life supports and then we can... Once we're a little bit stabilized on life support, we can focus on the Acolyte. We'll actually just go over here to the next set of life supports, hit one or two of them. Hope that violence follows us. I just got hit in the head by a rock. He's taking shield damage from something. I think some of the corrupted dudes are beating him up. All right, let's try to go back and meet violence halfway. He's probably going to be up here on this pad. Nope. Oh, give me some headshot kills. I don't want to have to use an ammo pad. Oh my goodness, I only have one mag. There we go. Oh my goodness, that was close. I almost had to use a pad there. I'm out of ammo, but there's plenty of ammo here. No, there is not plenty of ammo there. I'm going to have to use a pad. I killed a bunch of enemies, but I guess none of them had secondary ammo. I guess it's good that this weapon gives you free ammo then. There we go. Valiance down. This weapon's actually performing like better than some like average weapons in Lua. Some average weapons like fail pretty easily at 5 minutes. Like they can't really handle the Thraxes and the Acolytes at about the same time. This weapon hasn't done too bad. I don't know that it's going to pass the 10-minute mark with kind of the same thing with the Acolyte and the Thraxes coming at about the same time. But it's not doing horrible. The 5-minute mark wasn't so stressful like it is for a lot of average weapons. Oh, I'm like stuck in that structure. I guess it's because this weapon doesn't struggle too badly against certain things. Some weapons are absolute garbage tier against like very specific things. Like, you know, hey, it's great against everything except for Eximus. It's absolute crap tier. So this weapon is not really like that. I mean, it's better at trash than it is at Eximus's, let's say. And same thing with like the Acolyte. It's not very good against the Acolyte, but it's not like doo-doo tier against the Acolyte. It's not doo-doo tier against Eximus's. It still functions like pretty good. So I think that's why it's not struggling too bad. I would still say this is a very average weapon. Unless you had punch through on a Riven, I mean, and that's using external things. But if you were using externals to get like punch through, this weapon could be very strong. We're almost at 10 minutes. We'll have another set of Thraxes coming out. If they come out with the Acolyte, they're going to be main priority, the Thraxes, just because the Acolyte's not the one sucking life support. So let's hit this life support before the Thraxes come. Oh, I'm trying to trigger the frenzy. Let me get a headshot on one of these guys. Nope. I'm going to have to use a ammo pad. It's another ammo pad I just used there. Oh my goodness. Stop staggering me. It's these balls. The balls are just slapping me. I am allied with Steel Meridian. I don't know why there's so many balls just all over. I don't think Steel Meridian came to attack me. I think it's just natural balls. Out of ammo again. I am too... you can't spam ammo pads in Steel Path. You can only use them like once every 2 minutes, I think. There we go. I must have got some ammo doing something. Yeah, I'll run out of life support here. That's okay. We'll finish killing these Thraxes, and then we'll head out. Hey, Colonel. How you doing today? I'm doing a weird weapon today. This is the Athodai. It's kind of it's a weird one. It's a good weapon. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's an average weapon. It's not bad. The other thing that punch through would help is that you can actually get headshot kills through other targets. So that's something that like is lacking right now because of it being a secondary, not really having good punch through mods. We got the first Thrax down. Let's get the second one. Let's see what kills we're at, too. We're at 294. Very similar to the Kuva Survival. Kuva Survival, we were at 293. This one, we're at 294. I'm either getting my weapon stolen or it's going out of ammo. Oh, he's in his normal form again. I'm about to leave you here, Thrax. It's the Thrax, and there is a legion of balls just coming all at me. All right, there we go. He's down. We will get the hell out of here. And we'll go over the build one more time. I think I actually have my weapon stolen back there, but the Athodai can remain in Lua.
As you conquer the foe, so you conquer yourself.
So it got pretty consistent kills both times. Kuva Survival was 293. This was 294. So that's below average. Average would be 400. Getting below average is kind of expected, though, with a secondary single-target weapon. So not too surprising there. So the Athodai is a secondary machine laser pistol. It has two firing modes. The first firing mode is just a machine laser pistol, like I said. And the alternate fire is actually, so you go to alternate fire and it expends the entire magazine and it shoots out this like kind of flamethrower-ish weapon or effect. And it does quite good damage, actually. I didn't think it was going to do good damage, and so I had expected only to make one video on the Athodai, on the primary fire. I thought that the charge mode was kind of crappy, but after testing this morning, the charge mode is Steel Path viable. So I will have to make a second video on the alternate fire of the Athodai. So today's was for the primary fire, the automatic laser pistol. So interesting things about the Athodai, it's going to have heat as a starting element innately. It has a unique trait where when you get a headshot kill, it says it removes recoil, but it still has a crazy amount of recoil. And it increases the fire rate and ammo efficiency by 100% for 8 seconds. During those 8 seconds, more headshot kills will not refresh it. So every 8 seconds, you're going to go back down to normal fire rate and normal ammo efficiency. And you'll have to re-trigger the effect. And then also, other interesting things about it is that it has a just stats-wise, it's more heavily focused on crit than it is status. So even with two 60/60 mods, we're only at 17.6. But even at 17.6, this weapon shoots quick enough to justify having elements on the weapon. And viral is a strong enough element for it to be on the weapon. If this was a slow-firing weapon, 17% might not be enough for me to justify having an element on the weapon. But that's not this case. But it is more crit-focused. Galvanized Diffusion we're going to use for multi-shot. Galvanized Crosshairs for crit chance. Primed Pistol Gambit for crit chance. Primed Target Cracker for crit damage. Now this weapon is a almost 100% orange crit weapon. You will see a little bit of yellow crits, but they're so small amounts of yellow crits. Like, it's maybe like a 95% orange, like 5% yellow. I'm kind of pulling those numbers out of my butt, but that's kind of what it feels like. You won't see much yellow numbers. You could technically get rid of those yellow numbers and have this be in all oranges by using this mod, Creeping Bullseye. I don't think it's worth it, though, because Creeping Bullseye will decrease your fire rate. So I think Prime Pistol Gambit is better than Creeping Bullseye. If we were in more yellows, like if the yellows were a little bit more frequent, I might use Creeping Bullseye over Prime Pistol Gambit. But I don't think it's worth that -20 fire rate. Lethal Torrent we're going to use for fire rate and multi-shot. Hornet Strike is going to be our flat damage mod, 220% flat damage. Frostbite and Pistol Pestilence are going to be our 60/60 cold, 60/60 toxin to make viral. Remember, for Whispers content, you don't want to use viral, you want to use corrosive. So just pop your Frostbite off, put on a electric there, and then electric and toxin will make corrosive. So pretty easy switch there. You just pop Frostbite on, put Jolt or whatever the secondary one is. In the Exilus slot, we're going to be going for Steady Hands. This weapon has a lot of recoil. Even though it says it removes recoil, it does not feel like it removes any recoil. It feels like it almost adds recoil to it. So Steady Hands is going to help. Steady Hands is not enough to fully remove recoil, and so we're also going to be using Secondary Deadhead, which is still not enough to fully remove recoil. So those two are going to help lessen the recoil, but it's not going to completely remove it. You'll still have recoil on the weapon. The other thing I kind of wanted to go over was this mod here, Galvanized Shot. So Galvanized Shot could be used over Hornet Strike. My argument for not using it is that it's a very low status weapon. Galvanized Shot does have the plus 80% status chance, but that's going to be plus 80% status chance of the base, which is, I don't know if I could tell. I have multiple builds there. But the base is very low. The base is a very, very low status chance. And so that's not actually going to increase the status chance that much. And you get flat damage out of this. It doesn't work multiplicatively. So this is all additive. So you can kind of directly compare it to Hornet Strike. So every unique element is going to give you 120%. So if you have two unique elements, it's going to be 240. That's going to be at about the same damage as Hornet Strike. Remember that 240, though, only takes effects on follow-up shots. So the initial shots that actually apply the statuses, Galvanized Shot doesn't have any of that damage effect in. It affects upcoming shots after those statuses are applied. And so I feel like enemies that take a very long time to die, maybe like Thraxes, Eximuses, Galvanized Shot might be better than Hornet Strike. But on regular enemies, and even some Eximuses, I mean, you saw there were some Eximuses where I still didn't get 3 unique elements. I only got 2 unique elements on them. And in those cases, Hornet Strike is equal and maybe even a little bit better because you're getting the effect all the time on Hornet Strike, where Galvanized Shot, you're only getting those that damage increase on follow-up shots after the statuses are applied. So very, very close, though. Kind of choose, whatever you want. If you want to use Galvanized Shot, that's fine. If you want to use Hornet Strike, that's fine, too. I think they're so close that the actual DPS output is kind of negligible. So, and that's pretty much it for the build here. Again, later in the week, I will have the alternate fire build for the Athodai. That should be pretty interesting. I think it's quite niche. I don't think it's going to be like a build that everyone's going to use the alternate fire, but it is Steel Path viable. It did very easily kill enemies in Steel Path. So I will have to make a video on it. I hope you guys liked it. If you liked it, give it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subscribing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you have a good day. Bye.